Hi YouTube, the next superstar. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so my name is Sonia and I want to give you guys a video on why I left Canada. So first things first, I'm filming this on my iPhone, so bear with me. We're not going to make this very professional right now. We're rolling with it, you know, keeping it casual because it's more fun that way, and you know, we'll see what happens with this channel. But yeah, so where do I begin? So yeah, I decided to leave Canada. Many reasons. So where do we even begin with this? Where do we begin? So I think that I always wanted to leave Canada. This is not a huge shock to like people that really know me. Like I've kind of sort of always talked about leaving Canada and like wanting to leave. For the longest time, I think I always wanted to like move to the US, and that's always been somewhere I wanted to be. And I looked into like visas and stuff, but I just never made it happen, obviously, as I was living in Canada all my life. So I think the main thing that kind of lit a fire under me was, you know, the last few years and how everything happened in Canada. I'm still not sure what we can really say on YouTube right now, but I think people are kind of talking about what's happened. So yeah, that was definitely one of the contributing factors of why I left. So I think, yeah, let me just kind of give you an idea of like where I come from and stuff like that. So I actually never left Canada at all, like left the country by myself. So that kind of gives you an idea of like who I am, and like I haven't been a huge traveler. I haven't gone to many places, but I've always been a dreamer of wanting to travel to many places, right? So I just felt like Canada was not meant for me. I felt, as I got older, I noticed that I felt a little uninspired, and I needed to change things in my life if I wanted things to happen, you know, things that I've always wanted to happen, right? So you kind of have to get a little uncomfy. So I started to do more research, and I watched some YouTube videos of where people were leaving, and like people were titling videos of like leaving Canada for so-and-so country and this and that. And yeah, there was one person that actually inspired me to look more into Mexico. Just to give you an idea, I have 2 dogs, right? So it's kind of hard to travel with 2 dogs to like really far countries. And so I was like, Mexico, okay, I've been there. I could go to Mexico. So I looked into flights. Flights aren't very long, obviously. And then driving. I know, driving, right? Solo female driving to Mexico by herself. That sounds like some kind of story. So I looked into it, I did more research, and I don't think I really found anyone online that was like around my age that drove to Mexico. There's a lot of Facebook groups and stuff like that, but yeah, I was just kind of winging it. So I looked into routes, I was looking into cities of like where I wanted to be, and yeah, I found a city that I obviously have never been to, and I was like, okay, I think this is where I want to be. So I did some more research of like areas that I'd be probably comfortable. So yeah, I told a few people that I was close with in Canada, and I told my family, and they all thought I was crazy. They're like, there's no way you're driving there. Like, no. And then I had to convince them more, like, no, I'll be okay. Like, many people do this. They do this like every single year. In fact, like they go back and forth to Canada. Mind you, it's usually couples and stuff like that, so it's okay. So yeah, in fact, I'm making this video. Not only once did I drive to Mexico, but twice. I went to Mexico last year, and then I came back to Canada, and then I came back to Mexico. Mexico. So that tells you I was okay, right? So you gotta live and learn. In fact, the second time I came back was more of a crazy experience compared to the first time. The first time went pretty smooth for like being a first time, right? Yeah, you can watch my other video. I kind of gave a little explanation of what happened to me there the second time around. So yeah, if you want to watch that. But yeah, so let me give you the reasons why I left Canada. The major thing for me was weather being number one. Okay, so in my city it's cold as hell. It's like cold where your face hurts, cold like it's you can't breathe. It's just horrible. Like we've had like mild winters the last couple of years, and like when it's a mild winter it tends to carry out longer into like the spring, and it's just kind of depressing. You're like, okay, this feels like it's gone on forever because it's not like hot in the winter, but you know what I mean. If you lived in Alberta, then you understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, snow, freezing cold for like most of the year, I just couldn't do it anymore. Like mentally, I think I hit a point of I'm over this. I can't do winters anymore. I've lived with it my entire life, but I can't do it no more. It's funny. So like if you're not a winter girly or guy, like you're not gonna appreciate it, obviously, right? If you don't ski, snowboard, do winter sports or anything, you're not gonna love winter, which is crazy because I find a lot of Canadians, we all complain about winter, but we all live there for our entire lives. You know, and yeah, I just felt uninspired. Like actually during COVID, can I say that word on here? I don't know. I actually started a small business. So I was finishing university and plans changed because of all that political, and it's not even political, all the craziness of how that situation was handled in our country. So I just decided to switch directions of what I wanted to do in life, and I was just casually starting a business to just make some extra money in university, and I can focus on my studies and all that, right? So I managed to have that business running for a little bit. I was actually doing quite well during like lockdowns and all that. But towards last year, it kind of, the economy is hurting. Okay, the economy is hurting in Canada, so I was just like, I don't know. In fact, that was one of the reasons why I went back to Canada, because I was thinking of doing like a seasonal type thing with my business, but I was not happy. I was quickly becoming very depressed, and I noticed changes in myself that, okay, you can either live like this or you can move on, start fresh, and just figure it out. And you know, that's the chance I took. It's scary for a lot of people when you're young and you're not in retirement age. It's a big deal, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna bet on myself. I'm gonna make it happen. I made things happen for myself before. Team manifest. So yeah, second time. Another thing with that, like tying into business, I find that entrepreneurship in Canada is very limited unless you're like already a multi-millionaire and you're just gonna open another McDonald's or Tim Hortons. Like, I feel like the support is lacking, especially for small businesses that want to start up. It's very, what's the word? Like, if you know, you know. If you live there and you're an entrepreneur spirit, like, there's a reason why creators go to the US, because the opportunities are more abundant, more open for us, right? It's hopefully something that Canada can work on, but there's a lot of things going on in that country. So yeah. Okay, and I think another huge thing is just the cost of living in Canada. I think overall the cost of living, it's not just like one or two things. I think it's everything.
A new report shows Edmontonians are facing some of the biggest rent hikes in Canada. It comes with the rising cost of living in other aspects of people's lives. And as Kevin Malley-Fair reports,
Canada seems to be very inflated. Affordability is kind of weird, especially in the last few years. People have, their bills have just jumped through the roof, like cost of food, rents, mortgages have jumped. Like, it's just really crazy. I find most people you talk to are working like a second job now, or at least having some other source of income. Side hustles are now very common. You're seeing more Canadians running on Uber and stuff like that, where before you've never seen, you know, long living Canadians working on those types of gigs. So yeah, there's definitely a change in lifestyle over there. It's been increasingly more focused, even more about just your day-to-day, like trying to survive. And it's just, I don't know, that's not a way to live to me. And even if you are like making great money, like you're making X amount a month, a year, it's, you pay like half of that in taxes. So it's like, and then that trickles into like healthcare, and like if you list going on for that, people don't have a family doctor. So yeah, that's very problematic for like things that you would need to access. So it's very, cause a lot of frustration in society, right? When you don't have access to things and you're paying a high premium in taxes, it's like, where's your money going? So yeah, those are definitely high contributing factors of why someone would want to leave Canada. And yeah, obviously this is a growing sentiment. We've never seen this much emigration out of our country in like decades. So obviously it's become like a huge trend of leaving Canada. So yeah, obviously the last few years have been very tough mentally for a certain group of people. If you were outspoken during this time frame, yeah, it was very difficult to live in your country. So I found that Mexico is really good for me. I was able to, you know, spend a lot of time in nature. I'm living in a town that the beach is super accessible. Most of the time I could walk to it. I'm currently like literally right next to the beach right now for like, I don't even know, like a fraction of the cost it would cost to rent in Alberta even. And Alberta is one of like the cheaper places to live in Canada. Maybe not so much anymore, but it definitely was while I was living there. So yeah, it's really great for me. I could, you know, I could just go to the beach every single day if I needed to. It's just, it's beautiful. Life is good here. People are more open to talk to you. It's very different. Canada is very cold, not only with the weather, with the people. And I don't blame the people. It's just like our culture is very individualistic. And yeah, it's just been hard. And I think a lot of people are coming to that realization, and that's what's causing, it's not just political, okay? There's something deeper in this, that why people are leaving. And I think a small percentage of the people that have left have like kind of, you know, sat in those thoughts and thought about it. When I talk to people of similar mindset as me, that they don't really understand it, but I think there's just a huge shift going on in our world. So yeah, I think Mexico's really been good to me so far. It's crazy because I've never been to the city before, like coming to live here, but I don't know, it couldn't have worked out more perfect for me. And yeah, I'm just super happy to be here. I'd like to share more of my experience of living with you guys in Mexico. So if you have any comments, questions, anything you want from me, just leave a comment below, please, and like this video, and please subscribe. Thank you.